1 is done, 3 more to go. Today we are breaking down New York Fashion Week. Hello, my name is Anastasiia and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be talking everything New York Fashion Week. Well, not really all everything, to be completely honest, otherwise I will be sitting here all day talking you through, but I would rather share my favorite shows of the season, and if your style anything like mine, which if you're watching my channel it probably is, but then you will probably enjoy it. But anyway, let's be done with the intro and move right into it. So the first show I want to talk about, and one of the first shows of the New York Fashion Week in general, was Helmut Lang by Peter Do. It didn't disappoint. It's like that simplicity of the Helmut Lang with this kind of little twist that is supposed to be weird, but it somehow still makes sense. Like, I'm not sure I'm making sense right now. I mean, this little twist is exactly what gets me every time in, well, both Peter Do collections, and now, thankfully, unfortunately, it's translated to Helmut Lang's ones as well. Also, like, those little Helmut Lang references for the "if you know, you know" fans look much more decent in comparison to the first one. For instance, like a seemingly bubbly wrap material, which, I mean, of course it's not a bubble wrap, but made out of silk, or like those splayed back made into the garments. Chef's kiss. The only downside to the collection is that, well, it's more of a me issue probably, but I still very much so hate those kind of HL logo belts. The second show is Prabal Gurung, and it's like a mob wife aesthetic, means Dune, and it shouldn't really make any sense, but somehow it does. I generally can't tell you how happy I am to see the continuation of everyone's obsession with a wonderful color red, because I for once can't get enough. And it's coming from me as being a neutral girly. I had different color obsessions before, but never this strongly. Anyway, moving to Tommy Hilfiger. Like, nothing really new here, but then again, why would it be with the preppy aesthetic, which is generally one of the DNA points of the house, soon to catch up with the trends? Because honestly, it is kind of inevitable with the amount of new TV shows about the teenagers and the school, as well as like the quiet luxury trend, which once again will inevitably have a turn to the other minimalist kind of aesthetic soon, and I see preppy as a strong contender for it. So all in all, for the fans of the preppy and Ivy League aesthetics, Tommy Hilfiger would always be a pleasure to watch. And also, if you are in need of some layering tips, that is a show for you. Proenza Schouler by Jack McCullough and Lázaro Hernández. There is a strong Dune-inspired presence, like on the runways this season, and in combination with the fact that quiet luxury in particular, and like minimalism in general, are still going strong and will be going strong for quite some time, well, minimalism at least, we get this new visual narrative, which will surely name by the end of the fashion months, but for now I'm gonna reference to it as basic as, you know, Dune minimalism, which, yeah, I know it's not creative enough, but you know what, everyone understands what's going on, and I'm not here to establish another aesthetic. There are enough people as it is doing that. Speaking of minimalism, Khaite by Catherine Holston. These guys are also in the team of merging mob wife aesthetics with other different styles, and rather than going for Dune, they went for the Saint Laurent French kind of club chic appeal. And like, the coats of the show are to die for, and yes, mesh stuff along with oversized fur coats, and yes, black mesh as well as oversized fur coats are staying with us for at least one more for winter season. Also, I do find it slightly concerning that like my visual language is becoming so aesthetic oriented. I guess it says a lot about where I'm spending my free time. Next we have Christian Cowan, and you know what, if someone come to me and say like, hey Anna, there will be a collection mixing kind of 1930s glamour and, you know, a dramatic side of alt money aesthetic, and it will also have a slight villainesque appeal, I will say no more. I will ask where I can watch it. Altuzarra. Now, Altuzarra is like generally known and beloved for their minimal appeal, but now that they added this kind of Pierrot chic, they're on a whole other level. And yeah, the fact that we start seeing a lot of theatricality being slowly but surely mixed into the whole minimalist world does mean that the fashion swing is ready to move towards the other side of the spectrum, maximalism that is. It will still take a couple more seasons to go, but you know, I do feel like for now we've reached the actual heights of the minimalism side of spectrum, and yeah, it's kind of inevitable too. Like, the last thing I want to say about this collection is a styling tip that I caught here, and that is wearing like casual red look, like a red knitted dress over here, and continue this vertical line of the color with a pair of red socks, and then break it with like a neutral shoe, not to overwhelm the whole outfit. It is so simple, yet I haven't exactly thought about it, and now, well, now I desperately need a red knitted dress and a pair of red socks. Next we have Carolina Herrera by Wes Gordon, and I'm in love, I'm obsessed, and I do not even feel guilty about how predictable I'm being here. Like, impeccable classic silhouettes of the 1950s. Thank you very much. Like, not sure if it was intended or not to be so, but I see a lot of Dior references here. And in not only as like Christian Dior references, because yeah, obviously you cannot exactly tap into the 1950s fashion without at least breaching a little bit the subject of the Christian Dior, but like other eras of the house as well. I mean, I can see Saint Laurent here, I can see Marc Bowen, to name a few. That grey suit will haunt me in my dreams for the foreseeable, because honestly, it is the most perfect trouser suit I have seen in a very, very long time. Speaking of the suits, Tory Burch. The main thing I have to say about this collection is that it is so much better, well, this is my humble opinion, than the last couple of shows. Like, for starters, it feels like collection has a personality again, as well as like those little details that for once make sense and you want to spend your time looking through them, rather than, you know, an arrangement of the same details that seem like they have been just thrown on the garments for the sake of it. Basically, the brand came to what made it unique in the first place. Everyday wearable items, but how do we turn them into the art without taking the wearability, well, and or making them extreme? Like, might be the fact that it's their anniversary too. Like, not the brand's anniversary, but I'm pretty sure it's like the anniversary of the first shop being open or something like that. Might be just a good design in season, but you know what, I'll take anything, I'm happy nonetheless. And yes, it's giving chic book freak. And yes, I'm here for it. Next we have Laquan Smith, and man, really sad I'm bringing 90s Tom Ford in Gucci full on back, and you can do nothing to stop me. Like, it is often Siren at her wildest. Moving on to the Garbriela Hearst, and I told you. I told you she would leave Chloe and things would so perk up with her brand. Well, maybe it was a wishful thinking on my part, but that is what we are getting here, in my humble opinion. Like, it is good, all minimalism, but well, not only doesn't it hurt my eyes like the previous show did, but it is actually good. Like, it's worth your time watching. And it also has some, you know, new in garments to introduce, like that furry dress in the simple cut, gorgeous, a Yeti coat in white, or at least I think it's a coat, maybe it's not a coat, maybe it's a dress, or, you know, generally garment like in red and beige. Love it, love it. And like, this dress was kind of built in corset, or maybe it's knitwear, I'm not sure, and the low drop by waistline, like, it looks like it was inspired by Chanel, but make it better than, you know, Chanel. Next is Michael Kors, and if there is one brand that, you know, has been promoting quite luxury during the New York Fashion Week for like the past 10 years or so, that is Michael Kors. Like, I would say it is a rather lovely mix of, you know, office siren for the daytime, also mixed with a bit of kind of Prada weird chic here and there, which is nice experimentation for, once again, Mr. Kors, and which I do very much so appreciate. And Also the evening wear dresses, which is always a star piece of his collections and so arguably my favorite part of the brand in general. Also, skirt suits are really set on making a comeback. Okay, we have 2 more shows to go, first one out of them being Brandon Maxwell, and imagine mixing truly American sporty comfy style with kind of minimalist chic style or, you know, quite luxury trend, and doing this kind of and/or, because I'm not sure whether he was like following the trend or have been like genuinely changing the direction his brand will go further. But yeah, consider all of these pointers and you will get where Brandon Maxwell is with his brand as well as this collection at this very point of time. I for once welcome this change, you know, in visuals, especially like in comparison with what brand was producing during and, you know, after the COVID. And I'm not talking about like, you know, the quality and the size of the shows, I'm talking about the general style of the garments. This one is enjoyable, that one was not, at least not for me. And you always finish with something sweet, so for the end of the New York Fashion Week we have one and only Thom Browne. As you know, Maestro loves translating literature classics into the garments, and this time the honor befall Edgar Allan Poe's 1845 poem The Raven. Like, hence the snowy background, like great amount of black color, raven references, as well as more also than usual preppy style elements. There are more layers of referencing to this collection, so if you are interested, I recommend you Vogue's article on the matter by Nicole Phelps. But other than that, this is gonna be it for this review. Let's pick the favorites. Once again, if I am doing, let's say, 3 favorites out of the whole New York Fashion Week, I would put Carolina Herrera by Bess Gordon in here, Thom Browne, obviously, and for third place I kind of cannot decide. I would rather make it Altuzarra or Khaite because I have loved both collections equally. But other than that, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you like it, you can subscribe to this channel or something. Also leave me a like, check out my other social media if you like the vibes, and other than that, I'll see you in the next one. So, bye-bye!